Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Pankaj Dhingra, and as you all know me by now, I'm a proud FinTrammer. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the session wherein we intend to cover a lot from the standpoint of ensuring that we understand why a why a chartered accountancy student or qualified chartered accountant should look forward for doing CPA. We'll just come up with in a moment with a slide and then we'll pick it up from there. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Can somebody please confirm that I'm audible and clearly visible to you guys? Myra, Manish, anybody? Can you guys please confirm before we proceed on? All right, thank you very much. So the intent of today's evening session is primarily to understand, why we think and why many of the students around the world have been thinking that one of the greatest option available for a CA final students or CA qualified students is to pursue CPA. So that is the agenda for the day, and that is what we'll be covering in the coming 45 minutes or so. What we intend to cover today, I have a detailed agenda being shown out of here. We'll talk on the US CPA as a qualification, as to what this qualification is all about. See, one of the things that any and everyone would have in their mind is that why and what is US CPA. It's more like why we will any which ways cover. What is US CPA? Something that I'm sure would be there in your mind in terms of understanding what this qualification is all about and what does this really entails from the standpoint of clearing this in the best possible way. So we'll be talking on that. We do want to talk on the eligibility criteria for the qualification. For you to really look forward to it, you really need to know that how would you be eligible for the same, and that is again something that we'll be covering today in terms of understanding that. And we will also talk on the US exam subjects or the patterns, because it's more to get you a feeler in terms of what are you really signing off. So in case you're really thinking of pursuing the US CPA as a qualification, what is really relevant and important for you is to understand that what this qualification really has in it from the examination standpoint, which all exams you have to give, which all exams you have to clear, how all those exams are being structured, and so on and so forth. And that is something we'll cover in this. We'll also talk upon the most important thing for which you're here, which is to understand, CA versus US CPA. We'll talk on that. We'll also talk on, why we feel that, the CPA is one of the best segue for any CA student, and why you can really achieve a lot with US CPA with yourself. We'll talk on why US CPA. We'll also talk on, in terms of, what curriculum will be offered to you once you really, you'll come on and be part of FinTram. And of course, towards the end, we'll have the Q&A. I think that's again a very important thing. Please do not hold on to your thoughts. In fact, I would suggest that in case you have any questions to be answered, do put into the comment box. Keep writing that. People who have joined us on the YouTube, you please also put it in the comment box. We'll be more than happy to pick it up towards the end. Does that sound like a plan? Yes, sir. All right. Moving on, guys, to the first thing first, that is US CPA, as to what US CPA is all about. I think one of the basic thing that all of us really need to know, and them more saying it from the layman's standpoint, that like we have the chartered accountancy in India, on the similar way we have US CPA in US. So it's effectively a chartered accountancy qualification of US as a country, and that is what you become once you have cleared US CPA exams. Now, the best piece about US CPA is that now you can prepare for US CPA in India and give exams also sitting right out here in India. That was not available, that was not possible when we did our CPA, but that's an advantage for any and every student right now in India that you guys have, that you can appear for the exam in India and give that over here and move on. That is the big plus. All right. Now, one of the important differentiator, if I really talk on as to what uh, this qualification is really based out on, like we have Indian Chartered Accountancy, which is primarily based on the Indian accounting standard, or I can now say Ind AS per se. The in US, the the US CPA is primarily based on the US GAAP, US generally accepted accounting principles as we call it, and US generally accepted auditing standards from the auditing standpoint. And that is what we learn over here, in addition to of course understanding as to when we really get onto the regulation side of it or tax side of it, we also understand as to what kind of tax norms and regulations are prevalent in US. So we learn over we learn all of that in terms of understanding that yes, this is what is right, and this is what is something that we should be looking forward to. All right, Manish says screen is not visible. How come that be? Is my screen visible, guys? Manish is saying screen is not visible. Myra, can you confirm, is my screen visible? Ram, can you confirm on that? All right, maybe a bug. It is visible now. All right, thank you. Moving on, guys, what we have is the eligibility criteria. Again, one of the very important thing that you really need to know is what is the eligibility criteria for really sitting out for the US CPA exam. Again, this is very important, and I would say to an extent very relevant also, to ensure that you are not missing on to that. I'll just take a minute to ensure that we are not uh, missing out on something, because some of the folks are saying that screen is not visible. So we'll just see to it. Just a sec, guys. We're just trying to ensure that you are able to see the screen rightfully. There are some issues that folks have been saying in terms of screen being visible. So we're just ensuring that we are not missing on to that. Just give us a sec, and I'm sure within few minutes everything should be back to action. All right. Just to ensure, guys, and just doing it. Okay, Manish says yes. Good, Manish. Thank you very much for confirming. It helps. All right. Moving on to the eligibility criteria, guys, in terms of what the eligibility is for you to really pursue the US CPA as a qualification. If I really go by the number of credits that you need, and we'll talk on what the credits are, you actually need 120 credits to be eligible for sitting out for the US CPA exam. And what does this really mean? This effectively means that if you have done graduation, and every 1 year of graduation is giving you 30 credits, that's the norm, you effectively have 90 credits once you have done the graduation. So you effectively need 1 more year of education that can make you eligible for US CPA exam. So if you have done BCom and MCom or an MBA, or even first year of MCom or first year of an MBA, or you have done CA Inter, or you have done ICWA Inter, or you have done CS Inter, or there are various qualifications. If you have done, you would straight away become qualified for sitting out for the US CPA exam. Remember one thing: there are few conditions that you really, that even if you are only a graduate, in that case also you can still be eligible for it. And conditions are that you really have to be from a NAC A college and have scored 60% of the marks. In that case, only graduation itself will give you 120 credits, and you'll be eligible for sitting out for the USCP exam. There are more nuances to all of these eligibility areas that you may want to get in guidance from. If there is if there is any question specifically to your own qualification, to your own I would say eligibility, please do reach out to us. We have the dedicated evaluation team that does the pre-evaluation for many of the folks around the world, and we can certainly help you in doing that pre-evaluation to make sure that when you register, there is no problem for you to really sit out for the exam. Remember one thing, there is not only an issue of having 120 credits, there is also a lever of having the right accounting credits within this 120 credits. So they also see how many accounting subjects you have read or you have gone through in your graduation and post graduation as a curriculum, and we can certainly help you out on that in terms of confirming that how you would be eligible for it. Coming on to the CA students, all the CA students who have done BCom and also have done CA Inter, CA IPCC, or have qualified chartered accountancy, they become straight away eligible for sitting out for the US CPA exam. Is that clear? Yes, sir. All right. Moving on to, guys, what is US CPA curriculum in terms of what curriculum this has as far as the qualification is concerned. In US CPA, everyone has to give 4 exams. When I say everyone, even if you are coming from a BCom route, you have not done chartered accountancy, you're only a BCom but from an ACA college and have got the right percentile, have got the right accounting subject, or let's say you are a CA qualified student and have done chartered accountancy, you are a CA Inter student, have done CA, cleared CA IPCC along with BCom and so on and so forth, all of you have to give 4 exams in US CPA. There are no exemptions available to anyone. There are only 4 exams, and all of those 4 exams have to be given by anyone and everyone. There are 3 core exams which anyone and everyone has to give. So we have the audit, we call it AUD, wherein audit and attestation is an exam that you all need to give, wherein you learn the basic auditing areas as far as the US as the geography is concerned. You go through what kind of audits you really have to do over there, what kind of audit reports you have, what kind of opinions you need to be issuing out there, what kind of audit engagements you have, and so on and so forth. What kind of I would say nuances that really gets on to the play, when you really sit out and start doing auditing of any US company. That is what we'll be learning out here. That is what auditing is all about. The next one is the FAR, which is Financial Accounting and Reporting as a subject. Financial Accounting and Reporting, as the name suggests, is nothing but the basic accounting and reporting, I would say, rules and the pronouncements that you really need to go through, the standards that you really need to go through, as we call generally accepted accounting standard, is something that we'll be learning out here, and we'll be excelling on basic accounting that happens in US and what all you really need to do from the reporting standpoint. Important piece over here is that this essentially is very much relevant to any and every profile that you manage once you have done the CPA or once you enter any finance field. So auditing and FAR is the basic that you would see available everywhere. So it is, I would say, it is huge in terms of demand that people need, from a qualified CPA to handle in terms of accounting, reporting, auditing, compliances, and so on and so forth. The third piece is the regulation. Regulation is nothing but taxation and the regulation. Again, it is one of the core subjects, the 3 mandatory subjects. You basically learn over here the kind of US tax you really need to get complied with, more from the standpoint of what kind of tax assessees are there in US, kind of tax status that you have over there, and basis that tax status, what is the tax rate, what is the tax exemptions, how you really compute the total income, how you really compute the total taxes, kind of tax credits that you have, kind of, I would say, status that you have, whether you're partnership, corporations, individuals, and so on and so forth. So you effectively learn all of that in the taxation and the regulation as a subject. Important piece again is that many of the companies, even within India and outside India, are now handling taxes for US citizens, US companies, and that is the reason CPA is very much in demand as far as the need of the hour is concerned. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Coming on to the discipline exams. Now, why I'm saying core and discipline? Because core exams, the 3 exams that I just spoke, are the mandatory exams everyone has to give. Now, there are other 3 exams which are discipline exams, out of which anyone and everyone have to choose 1 exam. So it is only 1 exam that you have to choose out of the 3 discipline exams and give, because in total everybody has to give 4 exams only. As far as the discipline exam is concerned, do we have the business analysis and reporting? I would say it's an elder brother of financial accounting and reporting. So you learn various, I would say, things in relation to FAR over here, advanced things in relation to FAR over here. You go through the basic. I would say some of the basic stuff that is has is more to do with the economics or the business studies, or to somewhat an the costing piece. You learn marginal costing here, standard costing here, and of course there are some advanced terms that we do from the financial accounting and reporting standpoint. Coming on to the ISC, which is Information Systems and Control. Now, this is the, I would say, fever of the century now, because we are in the era where information systems are really hitting us badly, not only from the standpoint of managing our own set of affairs, but also from the standpoint of managing that, since we are in the world wherein the technology is now piece of our business, piece of our, daily, I would say, needs. It is imperative and important that we are able to circle off that these are the areas that you would be dealing with when you would step into any corporate. So this effectively tells you the kind of information systems things that you really need to know from the finance standpoint, the kind of controls that you really need to observe from the finance standpoint, the cybersecurity issues, the control issues, how you're really taking control of that is something that you learn in the ISC, as a subject over here. Then comes the TCP, the tax compliance and planning. I would now say this to be an elder brother of regulation, which is taxation and regulation. What you learn over here is that there are some specific topics that are being taken out from regulation, and they have been put it out over here as TCP. You learn some specific things out here, which you have, I would say, advanced version of regulation here that really specifically deals with the filings of the returns, and somewhere very specific things in relation to the SSCs over there, whether it is corporation, whether it is partnership, whether it is individual. We really learn and get into the details of what are the kind of tax issues that they would observe and how to really deal with that. That's what we'll be covering in TCP as a subject, and that's what this is all about. You have to remember one thing, do not forget that all the core subjects are the mandatory ones. You have to give all those three exams as core subjects, and then out of these three discipline exams, you have to choose one and just go there and write it. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Just want to do a sense check again, guys. Am I clearly visible and audible? Anybody, if you can confirm, guys, that will be really great. All right, I get that. Thank you. All right, moving on, guys. The topic for which you're here, which is to understand why US CPA for CA students, or I would say for CA qualifieds. The people who have just qualified CA or have qualified CAs and looking to really have an edge in the competition, in the crowd, CPA can be a very good bet for you, and you can really do wonders out here. I have a slide over here that really talks on the difference between the CA and the CPA. I'll take one pointer at one, but I'll take it, as point by point. We have, let's say, start from the eligibility standpoint. CA has an eligibility of class 12th. You can effectively start chartered accountancy after class 12th, but CPA gets started once you have done your BCom or MCom or MBA, as the case may be. Number of years taken for chartered accountancy, I have written 3 to 4 years, but I have seen people taking much more time, specifically from the standpoint that many of you are not able to clear chartered accountancy for whatsoever reason. So on an average, I can say 4 years is the time that you take to clear CA. On the other hand, it is generally 1 to 1.5 years that you need to take to clear CPA. It's only, I would say, 15 to 18 months is the maximum time that we think that any average student would take to clear CPA. That is a big plus for any and every chartered accountancy student. All right, number of exams. We have 20 approximately exams in CA in totality. In CPA, as I said, we only have 4 exams, so that is a big plus for any and every chartered accountancy student. If I really talk on the kind of exams that you have over here, in CA we have most of the exams are very descriptive, so you have to write and solve. However, in CPA, 60% of every exam that is there is multiple choice. So whether it is FAR, whether it is bar, whether it is audit, whether it is taxation, whatever, all the exams, approximately 60% of the exam, 50 to 60% of the exam is multiple choice. Rest is again descriptive. You get a simulation, a case study kind of a thing, which you need to go through and then start writing onto it and start, giving a descriptive answer onto the same. But this is a big plus because multiple choice questions, somewhat somewhere makes your life easier. While I'm not saying it is really easy, because there is another nuance in the CPA, because many of the times you would find that all the four answer choices are correct and you have to choose one, which is not an easy one or a cakewalk. But you can get certainly excel on that with us in terms of how to really point out that. From the group system standpoint, in chartered accountancy, we have group of 3 or 4 exams depending upon which level you are at. In CPA, there are no group system. And this is, I think, the biggest advantage of this qualification, which I think somewhat somewhere is a big plus for all of you guys, because over here you can give one exam at a time, clear it and move on, give another exam, clear it and move on, and so on and so forth. So you don't have any group system wherein you have to bring 40 in all the subjects and 50 in this and that. This is nothing that is there in CPA. Give one exam at a time, clear and move on. We generally, try to, ensure that candidate is giving one exam every quarter, so that within 4 to 5 quarters you're clear and you're moving on as a qualified CPA. From the difficulty level standpoint, I think both of them are equally difficult. CA is difficult, CPA is also difficult. We do not, and we should not, we will never say that CPA is easy. It's a professional exam being valued by all of the global companies, so we will certainly not say that it's easy. The only thing is, since you are only concentrating on one exam at a time rather than 3 or 4, the probability of you to clear it really increases, because you are devoting entire horsepower that you have onto one exam instead of 3 or 4. So effectively you can really excel one exam in 3 to 4 months, and you can clear that and move on to the next one. From the cost standpoint, if I really total out the total cost that you spend on CA, which is like the coaching cost and the examination cost, while examination cost is less but coaching cost is huge. If you really total out the total cost of CA doing chartered accountancy, it is around 3 to 4 lakhs of rupees. Again, it depends, what all subjects you are really reading on your own, but on an average, it is 3 to 4 lakhs. It is the same in CPA. The average cost of doing CPA in India, including examination, evaluation, and the coaching, the cost is approximately 3 to 4 lakhs of rupees only. From the scope standpoint, I think both of them has an outstanding scope. Even if you're chartered accountant, again, scope is very large. If you're CPA, again, scope is very large. I would say the starting point of salary can be different, because CA as compared to CPA, CPA has a better start of salary. But as far as the value or as far as the scope is concerned, both of them are absolutely good in the market. CA is based on Indian accounting standards. As I said, Ind AS. The US CPA is based on US GAAP or US GAS, the generally accepted auditing standards or accounting standards, as the case may be. If I really talk on the international job opportunities, while if you have done chartered accountancy, you would certainly get some job opportunity outside India, but it will take time. But if you have done CPA, the job opportunity, I would say, availability inside India or outside India really goes bizarre. There are huge opportunities in India, outside India, depending upon what you really want to explore out. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Coming on to a few things that I think all of you should know. If you're really thinking of as a CA student or as a CA qualified student to really think of CPA, few of the things that you really need to know is that one is that your eligibility is the same as of any qualified chartered accountant. So once you have done your CA IPCC, once you have done your BCom, you only have to give 4 exam and clear it and move on. There is a big time opportunity because the subjects are very much similar to what you have already done in your chartered accountancy. So you would see huge familiarity. It's not auditing you have already seen, right? You may want to see what generally accepted auditing standards are really saying, but at least from the framework standpoint, you know what audit is, you know what accounting is, you know what taxes are. You may, of course, would be able to, would be needing to spend good amount of time in terms of understanding what really happens in US. That's there, but still you are familiar to an extent to all of those subjects, which is a big plus. You can give one by one exam. It's a big, big, big advantage for any Indian student. None of the professional exams over here, are allowing such a kind of a provision wherein you can give one exam at a time. CPA really gives you that advantage. Give one exam at a time and move on and so forth. Considering you can give one exam at a time, the certainty and the pass rate really improves. Approximately 50 to 60% of the people, clear CPA exam, if I would say in one go. And it's a big percentage as compared to chartered accountancy. We all know the kind of results that we see in CA, which is a big advantage that all of us can take benefit from. Cost is almost the same. As I said, 3 to 4 lakh is the range of the cost. Huge job market, we all understand. Just going onto the Google, type the jobs for the US CPA. You'll be stunned, my friend, in terms of what kind of jobs that you would see and what kind of salary brackets that you would see for a chartered accountancy or a CPA candidate. CPA candidate, of course, has an edge in terms of having more in terms of his start salary, and the growth is of course very different. But job market from the availability standpoint or a need standpoint is huge for CPAs. It is certainly gateway to the global profiles. If you have done US CPA, effectively the US accounting, US reporting, US compliances, US audit. So your gateway or your toll gate to get into the global companies or global geographies really improves. I'm the testimony to that fact. When I did my US CPA, I was in Wipro, but that effectively opened various gates for me to really get on to the companies like BlackRock, BCG, and so on and so forth, wherein they need people who have the understanding of US laws, US taxation, US audit. It really gives you an edge in terms of getting on to those areas. Less time, I think it goes without saying. CA, we all know or we all understand that it may take 3 years, 4 years, or whatever that that time is. But in CPA, there is reasonable level certainty that you'll be able to clear CPA within 15 months or so if you're really dedicated towards it. The next slide is the companies that I've been observing hiring CPAs all throughout. Again, this is just the I would say just the I would say tentative list. There can be more and more number of uh, firms who are hiring, including the big fours. So all of them are hiring CPAs because they are dealing with the US clients, and having CPA qualified as part of the audit team or accounting team or reporting team really helps them get those clients, and that is the reason the demand is really going up. Whether it is IT companies, whether it is financial services companies, the banks, or the big fours, or the back-end operations of any and every company in US, which is there now in India, they're really recognizing CPA as a qualification to be hired, and of course taking it to the level that they want. All right. Now coming on to why FinTram, and of course why we are here. FinTram is the channel partner for Becker US, and we have been working with the student fraternity for many years now in terms of helping them in their CPA journey. We provide you the Becker content and the LMS, which is world class, outstanding in the market in terms of you getting to know anything and everything that is needed to clear the exam. That is something that is available to you. In addition to that, you would also get the best in class live sessions from us. All of the CPA qualified faculties like me would be there in terms of telling you as to what you really need to do from the standpoint of preparing for the exam, clearing the exam, and then going for the licensure. You would also get the study material, the notes, and the content available from Becker and also from FinTram, because we would be giving you the juice notes, the presentations that are needed to revise the content before you really sit for the exams. There would be some targeted mentoring also that will be available to you, to understand as to what really is happening on the exam side of it and how can you be best prepared for it. So there are qualified CPAs who are helping you and on each and every step that you really need to take and of course excel on before you really clear the exam. There is an end-to-end support of the CPA evaluation that is being available to you. Evaluation in US CPA in terms of your own credential is a big task, and we have the dedicated team that really manages the student evaluation as a process. For you to be really ready and be there to really sit for the CPA exam and move forward. So evaluation is something that we of course take it hand in hand. with our revision boot camps and the mock exams that we'll be offering you, of course, your preparation will certainly reach out to a very different level. And I'm sure, that would really help you in terms of clearing the exam in the best possible way, because the student doubt resolution process that we follow again helps. And of course, the revision boot camps that we do certainly helps the candidate to really excel on the content and of course be ready for the exams in the best possible way. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Coming on to my last slide, guys. While I've given my number over here, the FinTram's number is available out here. We've also given our email ID and the contact details. We'll be more than happy, to really take any questions, any concerns, any questions, any queries anyone may have. I'll be more than happy to pick it up. You can type on a chat, guys, if there is a need, if there is any question. I see Prasida writing, I think now case-based study questions are also multiple choice questions, not descriptive. No, my friend, there are some descriptive things that you really need to write onto it. While they do give you multiple choice component also as part of it, but there are certain things that you really need to write as a description, specifically on some of the areas wherein you need to write a written communication thing, or there are certain things where you need to write any report or any calculation that you really need to do from the standpoint of let's say preparing a financial statement and so on and so forth. So it is not only a multiple choice thing anymore, it's a combination. Muskan says, sir, I've completed CMA intermediate without graduation. Am I eligible for CPA? No, Muskan, I'm sorry, you're not. You need to have 120 credits, and if you would not be able to have it, you'll not be able to sit for it. All right, Muskan says, is there any order of giving any exam? No, there is no order of giving any exam. This is the best piece about CPA, Muskan, that, you can give any exam at a time. So I may choose FAR, audit, bar, reg, or I may choose bar, audit, FAR, reg. Whatever you want to choose, you can choose. There is no, I would say, mandate from the AICPA that you need to give which exam first. It is absolutely your choice in terms of what exam you need to choose and give. Alina says, BBA complete करके CPA course कर सकता है क्या? Yes, you can. You can certainly reach out to the team out here, and they'll be more than happy to really assess your credentials and tell you that where you really stand. But you can certainly start your CPA journey right away. Sir, please make comparison between CA or actuary, which is better. Okay, no problem. Ganesh will certainly touch upon that. May not be right now, but we'll certainly touch upon this on a different video. We'll talk on this. All right. Any exemptions available to ACCA while doing US CPA? No, my friend. Please understand, there are no exemptions available in CPA for anyone. You have to give this 4 exam irrespective of whatsoever qualification you have. Whether you have a CA, whether you are an ACCA, whatsoever you are, you have to give the 4 exams to become a qualified CPA, come what may. No exemptions. All right. Any other question, guys? Anyone has? I'll be more than happy to pick it up. You can unmute yourself. People who are on the Zoom, you can unmute yourself. You can talk, or you can type, whatever way you feel comfortable. Yes, Prasida. You are a qualified CMA with CA Inter. And 7 is experience. Okay. Okay. Okay, you are a CA and a CMA inter working in the manufacturing sector. How doing US CPA will help you? It is, I would say, it is your vision that would help you take this decision, I would say. Because what I feel is that if your vision is to stay where you are, Prasida, you're working for a manufacturing organization. Let's say you're working for Unilever. I'm just taking an example. Let's say you're working for the organization which is into manufacturing, and you want to stay over there in terms of doing what you're
No,
doing.
actually, I wanted to shift from manufacturing to service sector. That's why I'm just exploring
So
if CPA could help me.
yes, I was coming on there, my friend. That in case if your vision is to stay there, there is no point doing it. But if your vision is to move from manufacturing to the service sector, while I can
Yes.
tell you, you can move even what with even with what you have right now. You are a qualified
Mm-hmm.
chartered accountant. You can reasonably
No,
move.
I
There
was
is
qualified cost accountant and CA inter.
absolutely, even for that case, even in that case also you can move. But the move will be very different once you have a qualification like CPA. For
Okay.
example, if you are a qualified CMA or for example qualified CA also and working in the manufacturing sector, firstly entering into service industry itself is very difficult. It's not easy.
Mm.
Not everyone will give you an opportunity and a chance to really enter there. Not that everyone
Mm.
would be closed off, but it is not easy. But let's say, can you please put yourself on mute, Prasida, just to make sure that we are yeah okay. So one is of course moving on to that side of the table is not easy, but that's fine. Let's say you cracked it. But if when you'll crack it, no, the kind of job role that will be available to you, even after doing so many years in manufacturing, would be primarily from the junior to mid level kind of a thing. But if you have a qualification that purely revolves around in the accounting, and that too US accounting, and that too a global outreached qualification, your pedigree itself really changes. You would get a very different opportunity, and then your manufacturing experience would be more valued too, because then it will be like an advantage that you have because you have seen the manufacturing side of it and you have a very strong accounting qualification. So people like big fours or people like the global I would say banks would see you as a very different species on this earth and would offer you a very different salary in addition to a very different positioning also in the company or in their teams, which is a big game changer for many of the folks around the world.
Okay, thank you.
Deepak says, I've done MBA and BCom and LLB. Am I eligible? Yes, Deepak, you're very well eligible. Please reach out to FinTram. The number and the email ID is being provided. Reach out to them, and folks will be more than happy to really help you. All right. Then I get to see a question. Do we have global real estate construction certification if anyone wants to get into real estate? No, my friend. Unfortunately, we don't have anything like this, but we can offer you many other qualifications like US CPA. All right, guys. Anything anyone has before we really wrap up? I know we are just on time, but just to ensure that I'm able to answer any query that anyone may have, anything that I can help you out with. All right. If there is nothing, feel free to reach out to Team FinTram. We have provided the numbers out here. All the details are being provided. We're more than happy to help you and support you in your USCPA journey because we can certainly help you take the right decision for yourself and of course help you in all throughout your journey to become a qualified CPA. I'll see you again, my friend, in the next one. Till then, this is Pankaj Dhingra signing off.